Let's start at the top, as we always do, with quarterbacks. My only waiver wire quarterback guy that I want to focus on this week is Drake Maye. 3 touchdowns in addition to 3 turnovers, but what an impressive rookie debut. As a Pats fan, I was very, very excited to see this game. 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have those 2 picks, did have the fumble, was under pressure all day, does have a horrible supporting cast, and yet the dude still put up 22 fantasy points, depending on your scoring settings, was the QB10 in his debut against a solid Houston defense. Very impressive performance here. You saw everything that could make this guy, Drake Maye, a fantasy juggernaut. The cannon arm, the mobility. This guy had 1,585 rush yards and 16 touchdowns over his 30 collegiate games. And again, I know the surroundings aren't the best for a fertile, massive fantasy explosion, but when you have this type of skill set, it does remind me of the comparison he's drawn a lot, that early career Josh Allen, who had horrendous receivers around him and yet was still consistently churning out QB10, QB8 performances, largely on the legs alone. And he does have right now, Drake Maye, the highest scramble rate other than only Jaden Daniels. I know it's a small sample size. It's just one game, but 5 scrambles, 38 yards. That's right over Kyler Murray's rushing average. We all talk about Kyler Murray, this ultimate Konami cheat code upside. Drake Maye has the same exact juice rushing-wise. So very impressed with what I saw from his debut. And then you mix in the fact, if you need a signal caller this week, let's say you have Dak and you're just sick of him, or he's on bye anyways, Drake Maye gets the Jags. They are by far the best matchup for quarterbacks, whether you just want to go with standard fantasy points, 24 points per game, number 1 allowed by a mile, or even more so, if you look at the schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed by the Jags, quarterbacks score on average 10.4 fantasy points more than their typical output against the Jags. The next closest is plus 3.8. Yeah, that's how wide the gap is, and that's how bad this Jags defense has been against signal callers. In their last 4 games, Josh Allen put up 30 points. CJ Stroud put up 23.5. Joe Flacco put up 26.56. And Caleb Williams had 29.54. We're not talking about world beaters there with Caleb Williams, Joe Flacco. And they're still having massive days. Again, no quarterback has scored fewer than 23 points against this team across the last 4 games. And we just had Drake Maye finish as a top 10 quarterback in his first start ever. I love him to finish yet again as a top 10 quarterback. I have him ranked as such, plus 6 ECR for week 7. Definitely love snagging him. If you have QB woes, you need a plug-in streamer this week. I think Drake Maye is a phenomenal stream and stash in leagues of all shapes and sizes. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.